Hi, it's Michelle Austin from the Lead with Impact podcast. We all know that feeling of being alone and isolated in business. It's tough out there, and it's easy to feel like you're the only one struggling while navigating the business world. But the good news is you're not alone. The Lead with Impact podcast is all about learning from others who have been there and done that. We interview inspiring guests who share their stories, trials, and triumphs so that you can learn from their mistakes and map out your path to success. Each week, we'll bring you inspiring stories, valuable insights, and actionable tips from other business people who are leading with impact. So, if you're ready to learn from others and take your business to the next level, subscribe to the Lead with Impact podcast today. Today, we are thrilled to be joined by Stuart Wilson, a licensed insurance professional with over 15 years of experience in the industry. Stuart is not only well versed in insurance regulations, having passed both the RE1 and RE5 exams in 2012, but he's also completed his higher certificate in wealth management and his higher certificate in short-term insurance, earning 240 phase credits. Stuart's passion for insurance is undeniable, and he's been running his own fully licensed insurance consulting firm since May 2021. Join us as we dive into Stuart's insights on the industry and his journey as a licensed insurance professional. So, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to have you. So I'm going to jump right into some personal questions, if that's all right.
Go crazy, man.
So when have you grown the most, and what caused that growth?
I would say when I left my dad's insurance brokerage due to an opportunity to join like a very high-end corporate employee benefits firm. So it kind of ties into the financial service industry and how multifaceted. So I could do what they were asking. I was actually asked to refer somebody else if they knew somebody who could head up health benefits, to be more specific, for big businesses. I could do medical aid, but on a financial advising level, one-on-one and small SMEs. I was looking for somebody, and my old man actually said, listen, this is another step you should take. It's a level I can't teach you, like corporates, dealing with directors. You need to learn that kind of professionalism, this kind of level, but would be worth your while if you could, even though I'm here if you ever need me. So I was like, let me throw my hat in the ring. I couldn't care if I got it or not. I was in that kind of situation, so I was lucky. Choose God, obviously got the chance. The guy's like, hey, we actually quite like you. We know you're young, a little bit inexperienced, but come in and you're going to head up like some serious clients. Like, I'm talking like 3,000 member. You're going to look after all the employee benefits and regarding health. So I was like, yeah, okay, well, that's serious. Let me throw myself into what I can do. And I believe that was the turning point career-wise, just because it was a step up. It was in the deep end. It was hardcore working hours, not knowing what you're doing almost. And I think in those 2 years, it probably grew the most I ever grew in any facet of any business I did. So I think that was my turning point. Over the last, okay, that's a good one. I guess, I think more balance and like really working harder, if that makes sense. Like I've always kind of been a hard worker. I've always worked since I left school. So, but really work harder and balancing it out so you can work harder. And that talks to habits. So it's like I knew I was like, okay, look, you're going to be more productive. The hours in the day, as when you start a business, you just don't have enough. So like get up early and gym, like to start. I'm not like a fitness fanatic, but I was like, get up early gyms to start the day, and then that's a good habit to start because now you get into office 7. It's like an extra hour or 2, and you're really like fresh. So I started that habit. I started the belief of balance, and then like really work harder. Like I was like, okay, now you don't have 7 hours of the day. Like believe what you're working on is going to take more hours, but accept those hours. So I think that was my, if you're tying a belief in a habit, those were the things I started seeing a big change. Because when I deviate from it, I start dropping down, the business you start stressing more. So I believe those kind of things for the last 5 years, I wouldn't even say I haven't even been doing the last 5 years, but the last year or 2 has really made a difference. And if you could even get even more, so like be more I don't want to say like too strict, and when I say balance too, like I like going out on the weekends and still socializing. Part of being an insurance broker is that too. I'm a people's person, got to go. So it was a balance. Like have you, go out, network, meet, do this kind of stuff, but you got to do that other stuff to catch up the hours. So I think balance and being not strict and working hard and stuff.
Somebody that I know says, eat the frog first. So it is about sitting down in the morning and getting the hard stuff that's actually going to get you far out the way first.
Oh, there we go. And honestly, I dig that because I think, and it sounds weird, I think gymming hard first, because I'm not actually a morning person. And luckily I have a good friend we were also on the same journey. So it's like, let's just do it together. Get up early, because as you said, it sucks. Get up extra early really sucks. Now you're going to gym, so even like, so last thing I want to do, I have coffee and scroll through social media, wake up. So you're right. Once you've done that, you've eaten the frog first, or said that,
Yes.
then you're walking, you're ready. Or 4,200 emails, like, but I've already done the hard part of the day. I'm like, God.
Exactly, and your endorphins are going,
There we go.
so it helps you to get through.
So I think
through
that's
the
a
hard
big
stuff.
difference for me. Yeah.
Okay, what important lesson do you want your kids to learn?
That's a good one. I don't have kids just yet. I do want. So that's something I have thought about. Important lesson in life, I guess, is just be on, like, take accountability in life. I think. I just think whatever less, there's so much other things you could say. Be honest, be a hard worker, which is all important. But I think just be accountable for whatever's happening in your life. Just take accountability for that, and whatever you're going through, because I hope not a lot. Like, I hope they have an easy life, but that's not how it goes. It's on you to change it. So just be accountable and make sure you do your best to be in control of where you want to go in life.
Yeah, I think personal responsibility takes. I mean, it took me a while to realize how important it is, but once you realize how important it actually is, you also learn from it. So once you go, you know what, that was my fault. I did bugger up, but what am I going to do to fix it?
And there we go. Big believer in that, and it's taken me far. I can't say I was always like that, but I've read books like, I think it's Extreme Accountability, written by a Navy SEAL guy. But it resonates. It's just, if you do that in life, I think you're in control then, because you can't help what happens to you. But if it does, something bad happens to you, and you like, that sucks, but I can change this, and me work harder, I don't know, or let me do better, do something else that's not in that realm because my cards were unlucky. I think you can go far. So I would say, if it's one lesson, I would say just do that.
I like it. Okay, what is your favorite productivity hack for entrepreneurs?
As we're discussing off camera, ChatGPT. I think that's for me recently, it's a game changer completely. And I wouldn't say I'm an overboard tech nerd, but I dig productivity tools, and like, I even follow a website called Product Hunt. If you ever check it out,
That sounds great. I'm gonna definitely go check that out.
check it out. All they do is curate startups, people creating cool little, and it's the small guys creating all these cool little software and stuff. So I do follow that stuff religiously. I love these kind of things that make life easier. But nothing to me is as powerful as ChatGPT. So for me, if you can learn ChatGPT and get really good at it and really use it to your or bend it to your will, I think that's a game changer.
I'm gonna share a productivity hack of my own.
Please, yeah.
That I have learned in the recent past that it helps with social media.
Okay.
Which is Canva. It is. I always used to think it was a marketing person's a thing, a tool that they would use. But honestly, in my own personal branding journey that I've been on recently, what I found is there's some great things in Canva. So one of the things that I do is I do quotes on a daily basis.
Okay.
And you can actually pop quotes into Excel with the person who says it. You can create a template in Canva. And then what you do is you actually import the Excel spreadsheet, and it creates a daily quote on that template for you.
That's insane.
And then Canva's also got another fantastic tool, which is Content Scheduler. So once you have that, you can literally go on there and you can schedule to various platforms. So I schedule to, can't do Facebook profiles, unfortunately. You can do pages. But I schedule to Instagram and to LinkedIn on a daily basis. So I do a month in advance. So what used to take me half an hour every day, I now spend a couple of hours at the beginning of the month, and it's done for the entire month.
That's leveling up.
Yeah.
That's a great one. I've always known Canvas too. Like, my fiance, she did a bit of that for online store and stuff. And as you say, I thought it was just to create cool little posts and like nice little visual stuff. But
there's some very powerful things that Canva can do.
Now I'm picking your brain on that for sure.
Great. Okay, so what is the most significant area, potentially related to your area of insurance, that you're curious about, and why?
Definitely the insurtech space. So, like, I've been involved in insurance all my life. My dad's been an insurance broker, so it's like in my blood. I know insurance. I can't know it more. But it's archaic and ready for disruption. And the tech space, there's some cool apps. Like, I've even noticed with like Naked and Pineapple, if you check them out. I even put my I'm a broker, I sell insurance, and I haven't used it to put my fiance's ring on. It's just the ease of use of it. I think the insurtech space is unbelievable. And the different applicable things you can do to it. It's not just say car and home insurance. There's like apps and I don't know systems for the life insurance to make that more streamlined. Investments and stuff. I mean, even like the integration, which I can see coming, is the advice. So my whole thing is advice. So I do believe there's a way you can almost use AI to empower your advice, like a chat GPT to give the crux of it, and then a specialist like me to come and be like, hey, you've kind of asked this question. But let me explain more detail. So that's exciting. I mean, even myself, I'm working like a passion project on the side is a low cost health insurance app, right? So long story not to leave, you don't want to stay on you too long, but in this country, you get medical aids. Everyone knows medical aids. That's the best you can get. If you can get on, get it. That's my advice. But the current stats are 15% of the total population of South Africa can only afford medical aid. So that's 85% saying you can't afford it. So you use public facilities or you spend out of your own pocket to go see private, so GP. Okay, so there's a product out there not a lot of people know about, but they call it low-cost health insurance. It's regulated by the Short-Term Insurance Act, nothing to do with medical schemes. It's nothing like it. But they're very affordable. I mean, very like starting at $180, 200, 300, and it gives you access to primary healthcare. So now you can go see GPs if your baby had a fever, you had to rush to a clinic and wait all day. That's not right. Now they're like, no, I'll go to a GP. It's fine. Here's your card. You show them the card. It's covered. Unlimited, as long as it's within the network. There's specialist visits. There's chronic meds. You can go at actual private facilities now. So now it changes the whole dynamic, and you need primary healthcare to not lead to the worst step. So products like that are much easier to digest in medical aid. So to put an app attached to it is like my goal is that you can open your phone, check this app out, hear a bit about it, and then apply, and then be done by say 10 minutes. You should, or 5 to 10 minutes, have the whole thing settled, done, quote, on cover, and now you got some kind of healthcare where you couldn't have had before. So that space definitely excites me, and I think that for that little bit can evolve to even more complex insurance and make life easier, less paperwork.
Definitely. I mean, if I look at for our business, the amount of paperwork that we go through every year when we do renewals is just insane. So I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think that the industry does need to be disrupted, and not just personal insurance, but business insurance and the more complex stuff too.
Yeah.
So I love that idea.
That's it. So that's how I think it's going. I can't wait to see it. I want to be a part of it. That's where my goal is to take my brokerage, because I'm new age and I'm ready positioned my brokerage to be it's all digital, there's no paper. Incorporating those kind of things into, I still believe, there's got to be human advice, but you've got to be enhanced by digital, make life easier. Like this paper, I got clients legitimately that'll be like, I'm not signing 42 pages, it's ridiculous. Like you can break deals. It's like, make this easier for me to understand and sign up. So I can't wait for that to make your guys' life easier and ours.
Yeah. We were actually talking about it this morning, because the amount of paperwork that we go through in our business is insane. I mean, for every delivery, we've got a delivery note, and well, at least 2, because 1 copy for them, 1 copy for us. We've got an invoice, 1 copy for them, 1 copy for us.
Yeah.
Their purchase order. I mean, it's just insane, and I think everybody, it's a very topical issue at the moment, is going green, net zero carbon emissions. So any bit that we can do to help that, but also make our clients' lives easier and quicker and faster.
It has to go that way, really. For, as you say, every kind of service. Like I signed up to a new gym the other day. Me and my mate were saying, so I told him I'm ready. Like I want to sign up. Just the deal's done. Just give me the paperwork. No, you got to come in and do all the stuff. You're joking. I was like, wow. I was like, surely you could send me a digital signature. I'll sign it to quickly sign it. Send it's got an audit trail. Send it back. I'll give you my credit card details, debit, like that kind of stuff. Anyway, yeah. So.
You just gave me an idea for a gym on the side, gym business on the side.
There we go.
So, what gives you motivation or drive?
That's a good question. I heard a good quote once about that. I think it was one of those YouTube videos you watch when oaks are doing like workouts and stuff. But they're like, there's no such thing as motivation. There's only discipline. You don't always feel motivated. I guess I'm a little bit different because business, I enjoy my business. It's a gift. I really like it. Every day I go into office, I'm excited for what unravels in a day, even the admin or whatever the disasters. But when I feel especially motivated, if I say motivated, disciplines, everything else, it's like things like this, meeting another entrepreneur, sitting on a cool podcast, remembering, and the only reason I'm here is because I started a business. I started this journey, and the journey is exciting. I get to meet people like you, when I sit with clients sometimes, any new client to me is, okay, they're another entrepreneur. I get to hear their story. Like
Yes.
that motivates me. Being with people, I guess, doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. So one of my passions is women and youth empowerment, and what I'm trying to achieve through this podcast is uh, helping people by bringing on people who have been there and done that and
Okay.
have got the experience, and letting other people learn from the mistakes that they've made and the experiences they've had, so that hopefully some entrepreneur out there doesn't have to go through the same things.
There we go. And that's respectable. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm glad I could be a bit of part of it.
Awesome. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I guess I want to say, like, when you put together a very good deal, like a really good deal for a client that you really know doesn't, they can smile bull, they like, and they know they're like, okay, let this guy come and just shoot his shot, and you work hard on something and you present to the best of your abilities and that deal works, and the person, or whoever the guy is or woman is, respects you for it, and actually you can see the value add, then that makes me feel more best self. Then I walk out and be like, this, reminds me why I do it, reminds me that you can do it, and you just like, this feels good. Like, I'm on top of my game and I can compete. That, and I guess in a physical sense, I guess like the working out thing. If you hit a good session in the morning and you're ready for the day, you actually feel good. You're like, okay, I can take on today. Like, whatever comes my way, let's go.
Yeah.
Those are twofold things that get me going.
Perfect. Yeah, I think for me as well, it's when I can add value.
There we go. Yeah. And you feel like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Know what I'm doing, making a difference in somebody's life.
That's also good. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
100%.
Giving back. What do you feel was the most significant turning point in your life?
Personally or like career-wise?
You can do both.
Wow, okay. That's hectic. I would say back to where I made that career move, but it also coincided very close to where I think I actually had a long-term relationship and it ended similar. Not bad or anything, it wasn't jarring. And then I met my fiance now, just a year. So it must have gone, I think so a bit long-term relationship, good or bad. When it ends, it changes things.
Yes.
And then must have been a year later, I met my fiance now. Very, also a big thing in my life that, inspired me. She's a very like hardworking, inspiring woman as well. And then that career opportunity came in very close. So that all happened at the same time. And for it all to come light, it's like all the stars aligned. I think that really did change. From, as I say, the career was like, now you know about hard workers. Now you can speak to board of directors, and you've kind of reached the pinnacle of your professional. But now you've also met somebody, a partner that's inspiring you and also changing your trajectory of what you want in life. And I think everything changed, my vision, everything. I was like, now I want to be a really good professional. I want to have a family life. And so to me, that was the turning point. Then I was like, this is where I want to be.
Is there something that happened in your life that sparked those events off? Is there
like a once-off incident?
Yeah. So for me, for instance, once my mindset changed. So I mean, it sounds really silly, but if I look at my own life, I decided in 2019 that I was going to go for some hypnosis. And I know a lot of people don't believe in it, but I truly believe in it.
So,
And what it did for me was it really helped me to get through issues that I didn't know were issues in my personal life. And what it did was it just changed my mindset completely. And by changing that mindset, things just suddenly fell into place.
really, yeah.
It is literally from 2019 to now, 3.5 years. It's like chalk and cheese. So
Really?
I'm just interested to know if there was something that sparked that.
There probably was, that subconsciously, because you always think it's a chain of events, but it probably was. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I can't saying that. I was always wanting to be an entrepreneur, but not, and I took the leaps on all side hustles. But yeah, I can't say a spot, like one specific incident or one mentor or one interview or one word somebody said. I guess having not, being part of a corporate that you don't like, that might have sparked, like, I don't like the toxic environment. I don't like, that kind of might have sparked to say, like, okay, now you definitely have to do what you want to do, like your own thing, be as good as you can be and change the world, but do it in your own time. But yeah, I wasn't lucky enough to say it one thing. But that interests me with the hypnosis thing, because my dad, off topic, and me and him, we can't say we believe in all that stuff, if you want to call it that. He was a smoker all his life, Chesterfield 40s a day. Him and my mom both smoke, but for health reasons, my mom needs to quit. So my dad's like, okay, come, we're going to go to hypnosis. We're going to tell him to tell us to stop smoking. When we leave, never smokes again. Didn't work on her, but it worked on him. And he
Yeah.
didn't need to quit. How's
Yeah,
that?
that's so funny.
He left and went straight, I think, to the pub with his mates, with the worst environment if you want to smoke, and never
Yeah.
touched it again. So he was like, listen, that power of suggestion, whatever it is, it's a game changer. So I can believe that. Might
Yeah.
even do it myself then. That could be
Yeah,
cool.
I believe strongly, very strongly in the power of the subconscious, and that's essentially what hypnosis is targeting,
Okay.
is your subconscious. And
But what did you do? Like, did you
sorry,
go to the hypnosis with like say, I'm coming here for you to tell me, or did you say, like, what do you go and tell him to say, like, change my?
so what we did was I actually looked into it because I was trying to lose weight. So just
Okay.
on the side, I've lost 20 kilos since I
Oh,
started.
nice, congrats.
Without trying. And I strongly believe that it is because I got rid of the emotional baggage that I didn't know was emotional baggage.
Wow.
And once you free up your soul and your mind to get rid of that baggage, then physically it releases that.
That's insane.
So I really strongly believe that. So what we did was it was a process of about 18 months. So I went once a week for about 18 months, and we started, and she asked me a bunch of questions so that we could dive into some of those issues. So, for instance, I'm really going to share here, but I had two uncles that died within 18 months of each other when I was about 10 years old.
Okay.
And I didn't realize what impact that had on me.
Sure.
Especially because the one I was very close to.
Yeah.
So it was just working through those under hypnosis. Another one was my my nana. I didn't have a chance to say properly goodbye to her, and through the process of hypnosis, it was about saying goodbye, and it just it brought that closure for me.
Yeah, I can feel that. Like it's. I probably, you never know. You probably have those things. Because everything you just touched on, we all probably can relate, but you don't know how much it really impacts you. And if you can free yourself from something you don't even know is holding you back. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll definitely take it up.
Yeah, so I find I believe strongly that it was life changing.
Really? Eh?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would recommend it to anybody.
Oh, there we go. So I'll honestly will take the details even and go check him out or her out.
Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna cut a little bit there because the dogs went ape.
Shame, it was a good one, yeah.
Okay, so what books do you think have either changed your life or have had the most significant impact on your life?
I think a book about a 4-hour work week by Tim Ferriss. Have you heard? Yeah, that look, I haven't read anything in a personal realm that changed my life. There's movies that have inspire you and things like that. Yes. But that book, when I read it, I was like, wow, this is a whole new perspective on how business can be done. Like, ridiculous. I would recommend it to everyone. But I was like, this is crazy. This guy's, you can almost manufacture an empire without having one office and like the traditional way. He did everything, So that book, without it, and it did it in a way, it made me like, it's not that hard to start a business and be a business owner. I think people think, when you think of it, it's like, oh, that's joy, that's so hectic. That's like, how do you get to that level? But it's not that. This guy shows like that's not how it is. Or you can manipulate all the tools we have around us, like we're just discussing, virtual assistants, chat, and you can become a force to be reckoned with. So that book, without a doubt, was like, wow. It probably pushed me closer to being like, whatever you want to do, if you just go do it, because literally that book made me think like I could do anything. Yeah. I would say that's in a personal, professional. Yeah, I think we spend a lot. If you actually sit back and look at it, I think we spend a lot of time every week unproductively. Big time. And if we actually sit back and go, what did I spend my time on this week, and what can I do next week to change that? I think that's also a powerful tool that can really, also in a couple of months, I did that a few years ago as well. Is it? And one of my things that I do now is a block time. So I literally set time aside every day for making progress on my goals. Wow. See, that's good. I scheduled checking my email. I literally schedule 3 times a day checking my email. That's cool. I like it. Because I live on my emails. I should actually do the inverse. But do other stuff. I used to be exactly the same, and I realized it is a really unproductive habit. 100% agreed. You can feel it. At the end of the day, you get through your emails and you're like, I've just survived the day. Like, I haven't actually done anything. Yeah. Exactly. So if you schedule. So what I do is I schedule 20 minutes 3 times a day. So first thing in the morning, middle of the day, last thing in the afternoon. 20 minutes. And I then got folders. So I go, okay,
What can I now action in literally a couple of minutes? Respond to those emails. If I can't, I put it into an action folder
Yeah.
that then I know tomorrow I need to
Mm.
schedule action time for that. And then I also have a reading folder. So, you know, those newsletters that come in that spark your interest that you want to read.
I got so much. I'm subscribed to like so many. Like, damn it.
Yeah, so I put those in a reading folder, and then in the evenings or on the weekends I read those. And then my other one is a waiting folder. So I'm waiting for somebody to come back to me about
That's so
something.
good. As these folders on your Outlook, like
Yes, on my Outlook, yeah.
okay. And scheduling is just like to dos.
Yeah. So I'll take that if it's an action email. So if it's going to take me more than a few minutes to respond, pop it into
Like,
that action folder, and then I'll pop it into my time blocking for tomorrow.
that's succulent a lot. That's where I need it. If I got to say where I need help the most in my where I am currently is productive. How to be like efficient. We can all be good at what we are, but not efficient. You can like multiply yourself by 10, 20, but you
Definitely. Yeah, some product. It's just a small productivity hack.
no, but I'm
that-
taking absorbing this.
Perfect. Okay. If you could have dinner with any three people, whether they're dead or alive, who would they be and why?
See, that's a you know you always hear that, but it's like, do you think that question will change? Your answer would change throughout your life?
I think it would
I
actually.
do. For me now, let's say now, one would be Jack Ma, you know, the owner of Alibaba, the founder of Alibaba. Love him. Robin Williams, you know, that late actor. Always also been a fan, but also would like to just get to know him more. He seems like that very deep soul. And then, not sound cheesy, but my nana as well. What you said earlier, funny enough, resonated. My mom, so the grandmother. Also didn't get to say goodbye to him in my gap year, and then, you know, unfortunately she passed, which she kind of knew was coming. She just kind of felt that way. And I just feel like now, at this stage of my life and career, I'd have a lot more to talk to. Like, you know, obviously when you're a kid, you speak to her as a kid, and I loved the time I had with her, but she was actually an incredible woman, and I'm like, right now, there's so much I could learn from her. So it would be cool if I could have done it.
Yeah, pick a brain and
Jeez, yeah.
take some insights, because I think our nanas were probably really, really clever, really insightful women.
And she really was. Like, I know she raised my mom and two brothers alone, you know, single mother. She was like overboard, like accomplished and over like studied, and when she wasn't like a multimillionaire or anything, she just did well for what she had. And like that, even to this day, I'm like, how did you, even when she passed, she like left us like a property for for me and my cousins. Like, she was like, I was like, how did she manage to do all this? It's crazy. Like, she's a Wonder Woman. So, you know, you don't need to speak to some kind of crazy tech CEO, somebody to get that insight. You know, somebody close to you, and you know it's close to you, so she'll give you awesome. So anyway, that would be cool for me.
Yeah, that's great.
I'd like that.
Love that. What do you think is the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
People do business with people. 100% believer that, you know, that's no matter how good you are, what you do or what you believe you're good at, like, be good at people. And that doesn't just mean charming and whatever. It means like have a reputation for yourself that you're good, honest, reliable, accountability, and be able to, you know, connect with people. And I really believe that's like the most important thing, and then build on that.
Yeah, I have learned that lesson very quickly over the last few months. So a lesson that I've learned over the last couple of months is it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Oh, there we go. So true.
And yeah, I mean, I've managed to you know, networking is also not about a take relationship. It's a give-take relationship. So sometimes I might need something from you, but another time you're going to need something from me. And as long as you've got that relationship that you can give and take, that network is going to always be valuable to you.
That's very profound, and that's actually a big part of that. Be authentic with that. Like, really want to help other people, and be like, you're in business and whatever. Some people won't be like, oh, let me help him out because I know then he'll think of me and help me out. Don't do that. Like, if you can, you know, like different realms of industry menu, and I'll be like, hey, I got this lead, this, you know, you do whatever you do. I think you'll be a good fit. You're a cool chick. I met you on the spot. I think she's a cool chick. Why don't you go speak to her? Like, just do it authentically. Don't expect it to the back. Goes a long way, and people can, you know, real people can smile through that, and I'll be like, you know, this guy's a good egg. So,
okay, so something that I have realized is that what you put out there, you actually get back tenfold. And if you, like you say, if you're genuine and authentic about it, it really, a lot of the time, what you learn or what you get in return for me it's been lessons more than anything,
Mm.
is it far outweighs the value of that, far outweighs the time or the contact
Of course.
or whatever you're putting out. So
And it's not like some cheesy The Secret, but that's legit. But that's how you
that
got to be
is,
authentic about it.
yes,
Because you do learn stuff. I
yeah,
mean, learning, you can bump into the next best mentor you've ever had, but you don't even know. Just be decent,
exactly,
help, and that could come across, and you get more
exactly,
value out of it than you thought you're giving him. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or her, again. Like,
yeah. How long do you think it took you to see success in your career?
yeah, well, not to be hard on myself. I don't think I'm there. Depends what you define as success, I guess, and
Exactly.
your end goal. So I do feel successful because I feel like I reached my goal. And you start a business, as you said, to make a difference and be as good as you can be. You know, and like when you have a customer, if they believe in you and you believe you're changing their lives and actually give. I kind of defined it, and I'm there now. I'm not a massive brokerage, but where I am now in a year or two is big enough, and I've got enough clients that I can see a difference. I'm like, you know what? I started something to deliver a service, and I'm doing it well. So in that 100%, the freedom and flexibility of what entrepreneurship I've always attracted me to. It's never been the money. It's literally been you can meet awesome people. You're on your own time. You don't, the boss doesn't tell you 9 to 5. That's always appealed to me. So I've got that now, being able to do this.
Yeah.
That to me is success. And then small goals, like I even told my fiance when I was going to do this, and it was during lockdown. So I was just like, what can we lose? And she was like, okay. I just, well, you know what? When I make my salary at least within a year, try and cover it. Then, and it's rocky. I'm going to be realistic. It's not fair. And then achieve that. So that's small, that goal. And then, as I said, depends what you define success as. But where I am now, I think, so it took me, sharp 2 years. I want to say, got me to where I need to be. Feel successful.
That's great. And like you say, success is, it's got a different definition
Sure.
for every single person, and actually for every different phase in your life, or every different goal you set. It
That's
could
it.
be, is it a success? Is this goal a success or is it
Yeah.
not?
And I might miss things that somebody would be like, geez, I would have thought that was successful. I was like, oh,
Exactly.
yeah, not for me, but yeah,
Exactly. So I think it's also a mindset.
big time. That's it. So then, like, exactly, some people define success as different. I don't know. Some are like, oh, I want my first million, that's my success. But in a way, he could have done all these other milestones that he doesn't even trigger for him, where I'll be like, geez, that's to me is a big successful point in my life.
Exactly. Is there any other sort of occupation or career other than what you currently do that you'd like to try?
Something along the lines of like this hosting, like doing interviews with people, interesting people in whatever realm you do it, either a podcast, one of those travel shows, normally it's with food, but
I
imagine
love
love
those.
that. That to me is my dream job because I legitimately love people. Like I get energy of being people. I think that's the thing. I've even read books about it. Like you get fulfillment by being around the right people, and I do. If I
Yes.
don't see enough people, literally, if I'm in the office for a few days and I don't see a lot of people, I can feel it. Like it affect me. So if I could be in a job doing like this kind of thing, interviewing awesome, exciting, influential people, I'd love that. So that definitely I would do something along the lines like a host. If I want to call it interviewer host, something like that.
Yeah. I must say it's great to meet people and get to know people on a different level. Because a lot of the time, if you're networking at a networking event or whatever, it's all business, and sometimes you get to know people personally, but it's a little bit different. These are quite meaty questions where you're really kind of getting to know somebody.
Yeah, and when would you ever have that opportunity? You
Exactly.
can know a guy for 2 years and just know him as a pub mate, but you would never
Exactly.
get.
Exactly.
So that's cool.
Yeah, I think I would if I could do some sort of travel show. I think that would probably make me tick. I love different cultures. I love different places and immersing myself in the food and the religion and the culture. I love that sort of stuff. So that if I could make money out of that, I think I would do that.
I swear, I'll join you. That'll be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow a guy that has a channel where he travels the world and basically eats food on camera.
I know. It's what the hell they get that.
I don't know. He's got millions of followers. I'm like, oh, how did you
I
get that?
know. It's like the Netflix show. Is it Netflix? Anyway, one of them. Everybody Feed Phil. I was watching. My fiance loves it. Like, funny guy. But he goes to the coolest places. Brazil. They're feeding him exotic, awesome food. He's meeting rad people. I was like, you're getting paid to do this. This is crazy. So yeah, that's definitely my dream job. Something along those lines.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it must have been tough during COVID. Like you say, in terms of also that energy. So for people who get energy from other people, I think it must have been incredibly hard.
No, it is without a doubt. I mean, it's part of my insurance offering. Like when you do health benefits, what forms part of it is mental well-being for staff, but then also mental well-being for the individual space. Because, like, for example, medical schemes start picking up obviously after thing. Geez, listen, mental well-being is just as much as physical well-being.
Yeah.
So, and that's actually a good point. I can't imagine. Luckily, I was locked down with my fiance, but if I was by myself in a flat,
Yeah.
I would have struggled for sure. That would have been hell.
So I'm actually going to jump into the mental health question, seeing as we're talking about
There we
it.
go.
So what do you think is the biggest challenge that you've personally overcome in mental health?
For me, dealing with anxiety. I didn't even know I had anxiety, I guess, when you're a teenager in your early 20s. You don't think you have it. Now, retrospectively, I think I had anxiety all the time, but I didn't deal with it well. The right way. There's a negative way. And I think I dealt with it like almost ignoring it, not doing things because maybe you're a little bit anxious, or you'd rather not, you avoid things. So now you're avoiding something because you're anxious or nervous or scared of something, which, yeah, you should always say yes and just try at least. Don't let the anxiety be a stopper for that. And dealing as a negative, like I would drink and party with friends and carry on to deal with anxiety. That's terrible advice. Once in a while it's fun, but so again, it ties into then finding better avenues, I guess, with the journey. Why don't you gym more? Why don't you throw something to work? If you're stressed and anxious about something, take it head on and deal with it. That's to me the positive way. And then the crux of how I deal with it is physical stuff like gymming, sport, whatever, and then deal with people, the right people. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
But for me, biggest turning point is being able to deal with anxiety. I haven't done it yet medically. I have spoken to people, therapists and stuff. So that also helps. There's nothing against. Actually, you should. So whatever way you can. But that, for me, dealing with my anxiety, the healthy way. Because it's there. I think you can't ever get rid of it. Just accept it and deal with it positively.
Yeah, I mean, I've had to deal with it personally. So I empathize and I understand completely. I also have realized lately that I actually think that I have ADHD as well. And I haven't been diagnosed as such,
Okay.
but the warning signs are there. And I think I'm a high functioning person with ADHD, and anxiety is also linked to that.
Okay. Well, I've read that as well.
And what I found that it works really well for me, because it's also been part of this self-care, self-understanding journey that I've been on, is that anything I fear is where I need to place emphasis.
Okay.
The more I fear it, the more I realize that's where my growth is.
Yeah, that's profound.
So for instance, I mean, if you'd asked me 6 months ago if I would, in fact, actually, we did. So I was part of a podcast with 3 other ladies, and as part of that podcast, we had opportunities to speak on radio and speak on TV.
Okay.
And I was the one that always shied away from it.
So you don't like public
I am
speaking?
not a massive public speaker. I don't find myself profound or insightful. So I have found over the last 6 months that I've started doing this, the more I do it, the less anxiety I feel about it.
There we go.
So you almost need to push yourself past where you think your limit is, in order to actually get over it. And I still do feel anxious. I think it's just something that you just learn how to deal with.
That's it. Don't let it stop. Well, that's it. That's super inspiring. So, like, this kind of thing doesn't make me nervous, funny enough, but public speaking, 100%. Me, like, I'm engaged now, saying the speech at my wedding already kept me up at night. So it's kind of, but then as you say, it's like, then just force yourself into it. Do it. Like,
I mean, if that's what you are, your goal is, what you should be doing before that. I mean, I don't know when your wedding is, but
end of March, but yeah, soon.
You need to start doing a few speaking engagements, but genuinely, I can't think of an example off the top of my head. If you're going out for drinks with a bunch of friends, grab the room and say something insightful.
It's crazy, but that's honestly what you should do. Like, I guess also the job I had, like, to present to board of directors and stuff. Again, I can talk to a room and people. I don't struggle with, but for some reason it changes when there's a lot of people with eyes on you.
Yes.
Some evolutionary instinct kicks in, like, panic. That I'd overcome. But again, I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to keep presenting. I fumbled a few times.
But that's okay.
I completely screwed up someone. I was like, it sucked, but never. I was just like, just keep doing it. And then, as you say, then it becomes, I know what I'm doing. 100% you'll come out purged and you'll be sweet. So you're right. That's the best advice.
Yeah.
Deal with anxiety healthily. Don't mask it and go ahead on. I like that.
100%. Love that. Okay, and then what do you think are your favorite mental health resources? So, any books, podcasts, specific
Uh,
people, apps?
yeah, for me, people. I don't think I ever dive into, but again, depends what the mental illness is. I guess you can't, certain things you actually need to go speak to somebody, I guess. But people, it helps me. Mental illness, it can be stress, anxiety, a little bit of depression. All that can be attributed to a few things. But I know it helps me if I surround myself or I give breaks in my life with the right people and like surround myself with the right, and it has to be right people. That's
It's yeah.
the wrong people can actually do that, make it worse.
Yes.
So just not toxic people, just find people loving care, and when you're with them, you feel it. That for me 100% deals with my mentality. But then I do, don't get me wrong, I read, once I have books, but I read a lot of articles on it, lots. Whatever comes my way, I want to read, or somebody's antidote about it, or podcast. When people talk about how they got through a very serious kind of mental issue, that 100% helps me because you can relate or can hear that because they went through it. Oh, it can help me. But for me, people's my first thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and you're completely right about. I find that there's people that energize me and there's people that drain me,
Yeah,
and you need to make sure that, especially when you're feeling a bit low, that you're around the people that energize you.
100%. There was I think a skit or reel on Instagram where they asked this guy. He was like an actor. You've seen him in like gangster movies. I actually forget his name. But then somebody asked him like, "What's your advice? How do you deal with?" I think he said people, but he specifically said, "Well, if you ever try to help a friend who's going through a bad time, or you give them advice, but they never listen. No matter what you do, they can never listen. They have to do it themselves."
Yeah.
But he says the opposite isn't true when a negative person impacts your life.
Mm.
He's like, they can affect your life easily. So he goes, what I do is just avoid it, shut up. He's like, you know what I mean? Like, just, it sounds harsh, but just avoid it. Just have the right people around you and life will be easy.
So I find that toxicity is contagious, whereas positivity is a little bit less contagious.
That's kind of what he was trying to say. Exactly what he was like saying. When you try and be positive to someone, help them out and bring them up, it doesn't always work. Like they need to do it themselves. But he says the opposite. Exactly is what he was saying. So you've actually the opposite isn't true. Though. He says if somebody's toxic, you want to bring you down. It's very easy. So don't let that happen.
Yeah, 100%. You got to try and stay away from that as much as you can. How has failure, or maybe even apparent failure, set you up for some sort of success later? So maybe you have a sort of a favorite failure moment.
That's cool. I've had a few. So presentations where I bombed completely, and then I would go back and spend all night rehearsing the next one, sitting in front of a mirror, like doing it back to myself not to screw up again. That kind of bounced back. But on a bigger note, I would say in business, as I said, I had a few side hustles. At one stage, I opened a few Ubers, bought a few Ubers, got some guys in there, started hustling and driving around. That didn't, I wouldn't say it didn't crash and burn, but it got to a point where I was like, hey, geez, how do you got to pay these calls off? I didn't like actually budget. I was like living in the moment. So I had to like get to a point where I was like, I need to sell these cars and sell everything ASAP before it bombs. So to me, it's a bit of a failure because I had vision of growing it to a bigger point, but I couldn't. I didn't plan ahead. But what I loved about it and I took away from it was like which I didn't think was deal with people. I thought I'd be good at it. That's trust me, if you think you're good at people, leading somebody and being good at people are the same thing. I had 3 different drivers, 3 different personalities, high performers, but all of them I think were that way on their own accord and not to do with me, which I realized so just because you're nice and mates with people, that doesn't help. So I took, what do you call it, lessons out of that. I took lessons out of doing, because that was quite a big commitment. You got to buy cars and stuff. And I won't say it won, but I did research. And the only reason I jumped into it, I went to go to this like Uber talk thing. And a mate of mine was in it too. And when we both walked, I said, "Oh, you're thinking about doing this yourself?" He's like, "No, I've already got the car." And I was like, it spurred me to be like, "Hey, don't waste time. If you thought about it and you've kind of assessed it, just go for it. Like, what do you really got to lose? Unless you're going to put your kids' education and all the money we have, think about it." But so it taught me also like how you are people and take some risk. So I loved it because I wasn't ever scared again. And I've had another business which was importing bamboo straws to replace, to be reusable.
Yeah.
Started an online store. We tried to do B2C and B2B. Completely failed because we're like B2B, like, listen, the price per straw is just not economical. It's ridiculous. We're all getting paper straws.
Yeah.
And I think I still see a garage full of bamboo straws if ever want. My mom's the biggest supporter. She always uses them. But I love that too because, again, besides what you learn, I learned online stores. I learned how to do all that. I learned import export. I learned so much.
Yeah, there's so many skills.
But then again, so the next, by the time you're on your third business, you fear nothing. You're like, I've done all this. Like, what? It's not. It sounds cheesy. You don't really fail, but you're just like, but there's ways of starting again and making a bit of bucks, but do it this way. So yeah, from those two I think my favorite would have been, I would say the bamboo straw thing because it was a bomb. But I was just like, I felt so good after. It's like, this is not hard. Like, you can just, let's jump to the next one. That's the first thing I say is like, okay, what else is out there? So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some big takeaways there for me. So, um, I think I think planning is important, but I think you can also get to a point where you have analysis paralysis, as I call
Big
it.
time. I like that.
So there's a very fine balance between assessing the risks and the benefits and the rewards. So yeah, I think that that's a great takeaway for the listeners. And yeah, I think like we mentioned earlier, fail forward and fail
I
often.
love it.
Because the more you fail, the better you're going to get at it.
There we go.
And the more you're going to learn, and the better your next business is going to be.
And that analysis process is real. I've seen it. I've seen it on people, very smart people, more capable people, overanalyze something that I think it was somebody actually, I can't, it must have been something like they were speaking about the Uber business to me after I did it. I said, no, it actually was profitable. I got out profitable. I didn't actually lose money, but it didn't go to where I wanted. And then he was like, oh, but my calculation said this, and we did this, whole thing. I was like, yeah, but I did the exact same. I was making this much money. It worked. But you just got to get your feet wet. Like exactly what you said, they were over-analyzing. I said, some depends what the risk is. Don't bond your house, sell everything you got. Okay, then you must really think about what you're doing. But don't let analysis paralysis get in the way.
I think something we're also highlighting on that maybe I should mention here is the value of what you're looking at. So an example is if you are, so let's say you're 100 million business, that's your turnover, and you have a decision that you need to make where you're purchasing a vehicle for 200,000 rand. Okay, that the value of that is really low in comparison to the value of your business. So you don't want to overanalyze something that is not significant or material to your business.
That's cool. That's a good way of putting it.
Whereas if it is something that is a 50 million rand decision, you need to spend a lot more time on analysis paralysis because it could literally sink or swim, make your business sink or swim.
There we go.
So I think it depends on the situation.
And take the small leaps. So I'm lucky also the Uber business wouldn't have bankrupt me. You're loaning a car. So it's a lot. Look, you can get in trouble, but you're loaning it. Then it's bank's money.
Yeah.
The revenue coming.
But you've also got the asset that's a security against.
I always had a way. Yeah, I always, whatever I jumped into, look, let me not act like the biggest hero. I was like, whatever I jumped into, I was like, what the worst thing that could happen? And write that down, be like, nah, I can deal with it. If you can, then do it. Really.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, then don't, because you will get something out of it, regardless if it's, network, you'll learn, you'll connect to people, you'll learn a hell of a lot. So try the small little ones, yeah. But you're right. If you're going to jump into something big and you need fundraising for like $5 million, take your time.
Yeah, make sure you do your homework before you just jump into something that could be life-changing.
That's it. And then immerse yourself and learn by experience because you have to. Otherwise, you can overthink things.
Yeah. Okay, how do you boost productivity without causing burnout?
For myself or for other people?
Both.
I only have one staff member started now and another colleague is working with me. So productivity for other people I've yet to learn yet. I just try and lead by example. I'm always on the balls. I'm always there. I'm like, let's work together. So that for me, I've got a lot to learn to inspire people and boost productivity. So I can't comment there, but for me, taking breaks and working the right time. So like, it's inevitable if you start your own business, you're going to put in a lot of hours. You can't avoid it. Even it's not a bad thing. You want to put in hours because it's your baby, but it's not productive. You work 18 hours a day, you're actually doing it wrong, and you're going to miss things, and you're going to be poor your quality of service. So what I learned to do is the traditional 9 to 5. That's not how it is. You can, like you were saying, allocate time to customer service 9 to 5, but then don't go home and also work 7 to 1 because you're doing it wrong. But I realized I don't mind working on early Saturdays, early Sundays. I actually quite enjoy it. It's quieter. I love it. And what happens early on a Saturday or Sunday, you're not missing out much. You get up at 7, 8, 9, 10. You can get a lot done. So for me to be my most productive is take the breaks at the right time and then allocate those hours into different slots, and then it boosts. Like it's phenomenal how much more productive you are on those certain different days. Because I don't know, it depends for me, example, insurance. We deal with people every day, all the time. Not just selling. It's once you've got a client, it's claims, it's advice. So it's very hard to avoid getting burnt out all day dealing with customers. And you have to, because that's the crux of my business. I want customers to always come first. And then when you're going to do business running stuff where you do strategy, and you can't do it often because your brain's a bit fried, and you actually
You need
feel
to
the
push for that.
and you feel less motivated because now you've just been dealing with clients all day. And you're like, geez, I'm exhausted. So what I learned was don't do it then. Specifically Tuesdays where you know you're in a better mind space. No one's going to phone you. So for me, that's the best thing I've done for my productivity.
So somebody once told me, and I cannot remember who it was, to be honest, but somebody said to me, you cannot work on your business if you're working in your business.
I see. That's sick. You're dropping gems, yeah.
Yeah.
I think these are.
So it's about setting time aside. So what we do in our business is once a quarter, we set aside an entire day where our leadership team comes together, and that day is dedicated to strategy.
I see.
And we're then looking at budgeting, forecasting, what the performance has been against that. Do we need to update that? What are our goals for the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months? Plus, are we still looking at are we still meeting the values and the purpose of the entity with our goals that we've set? Yeah, so we do that. We make sure we set time aside because, yeah, like I said, you can't work on your business if you're constantly running on that hamster wheel. So you need time away from that hamster wheel. So something that we're also busy trialing at the moment is a day a week for our leadership team members to be at home.
Okay.
Email off, cell phone off, that they can work on strategy.
Really? I swear I was listening, that's serious advice and good advice. I myself a feeling that you won't go where you want to go if you don't do that kind of stuff. If you're in that the whole time, you'll be your own worst enemy, really.
Yeah. And then you're not going to achieve those goals, and you're going to get frustrated because every year or every quarter or every half, you're never going to achieve them because you haven't set time aside. So if you don't set time aside to achieve your goals, you're never going to achieve them.
There we go.
So whether that be, and like we were saying earlier, you need to find out when you're most productive. So for me, I find I'm really productive in the afternoons. Weirdly, when everybody else goes home. So
Okay.
I try to get my strategy working on the business stuff done in the late afternoon, early evening, when the office is quiet, there's no interruptions. Or else Friday afternoon. So we finish early on a Friday afternoon. So I can get a lot achieved from 1:30 until 5:00.
Well, that's exactly it. What you're saying to me now is it took me a while. And on that, if you ever, there's another book that actually had a profound, if you should read, or any listener wants to read, The E-Myth Revisited.
Okay.
The whole book is about this guy saying it's the entrepreneurial myth, he says. It's a myth. He says people get the sparks of entrepreneurial, like, I want to be, you're working because you don't like your boss and you're the best technician in this business. You're like, I can do what he does way better. Why am I? They say that's a problem because once you jump into, you learn very quickly, you start only becoming a technician, but you don't only need to be a manager, CEO.
Yeah.
So as you said, if you're in the business all the time, you're going to fail. You got to be out and be able to.
So it's not really relevant to this, but I thought I would mention it is something that I've learned recently as well, is that innovation. So we all want innovation in our business, and I think that the way the world is moving, it's moving at this ever increasing pace, and we've got to keep up with it. So if we're not innovating, we're going to get left behind. So what I've realized is that innovation doesn't come from the leaders.
Okay.
They have to have an innovative or a philosophy of innovation, but they're not the ones that are doing the same thing every day in and out. Innovation comes from the person who is sitting behind the machine doing the same process over and over and over again, and he's the one or she's the one who's going to come up with the idea on how can I make this better, how can I make this faster, how can I make this easier. So I think it's important that we encourage a culture of innovation.
That's profound, and that's also important the way we worded that. Yeah, create the culture of innovation, or don't expect it from your employees. You must create that.
Create that culture and let them feel comfortable coming forward with their ideas.
That's 100% will take your business to the next level.
Yeah.
If you think like it.
Yeah. What do you wish that your younger self knew about your profession?
Good question. That it's not as boring as you thought it was. Like, I got into straight after school, I didn't study, I didn't know what to study. So my dad's like, well, come work for me and see if you like it. I was like, oh, insurance. Anyone you ask insurance, it doesn't inspire, like movie star kind of lifestyle. But it's not as boring as you think, and it's more important than you think. If you do insurance right, I don't believe there's much services or industries in the world that can make an impact like we do. So I wish I knew that younger. And like, I've always been a part of it, so I never kind of left it. But if I threw myself in more and really believed that, I think I could have been what I am now, maybe a lot earlier. So yeah, that's how I want to give myself that. It's a good question, actually.
I think it's a good question. I haven't actually thought about it myself. I think something similar is that it's not as boring as you think. There's so many opportunities. And it's one of the reasons why I did study finance, was that, you can take so many different roads. You can take the road of your typical financial manager or financial director, CFO, or you could be an auditor, you could be a financial advisor, you could be a personal finance specialist. Or you could lead businesses, be an entrepreneur, start a podcast, interview other people, be a journalist. There's so many opportunities, and you
wouldn't have thought that.
No.
To see that, and that's why I think studying straight after school is just it's a lot to have a lot of responsibility to choose. That's why I respect my parents for that, because they would have, but they never pushed me. They're like, we can tell you straight away. I was like, I have zero idea what I want to do. So why are you going to pay 4 years for me? But if you know that those kind of, like you say, a finance degree or whatever you study, BCom finance, but like it could lead to other things. It's just a good foundation. Then it changes your perspective. Oh, well, same as insurance. It's such an interesting and a very low barrier to entry job once you're in it. Like, you need your qualifications, you need your fit and proper. Once you're in it, the ways you can go. You can be the person that calls on brokers. You can be the broker. You can be the insurer. You can be a marketer for an insurer. You know what I mean? And like I said, I love insurance. So the way you said it is actually quite right. Don't look at it, a job title as one sitting as a CFO for business, cutting checks and stuff. The avenues where it can lead to is what you should look at.
Yep. I mean,
that's a good one.
Yeah, you could really just slice it and dice it as you wish. I mean, a stupid example is that we recently went to America on holiday.
Okay.
And I've got 2 young boys. So you want to have an impact on your kids, and you want to let them know what opportunities there are available. That there's not just your lawyer, doctor, accountant. There's plenty of opportunities out there. But if I think about me, I don't even know about various types of careers. I've been very kind of like blinkers on.
Same as me, actually.
And what we did the one afternoon is we actually went and just sat in the harbour. And we watched them. And I actually said to my husband, I said, I never actually thought about this, but there is a guy sitting up there in a crane that is literally moving containers. It is what his job is he picks up a container and he puts it on a ship, and he picks it up another one and he takes it off the ship. And I just said, this is such good exposure for our kids, because it just opens them up to just a general knowledge of what is actually possible if they want to go in that direction. And
that there's so much options. Like, for example, there's a very niche specialized insurance to sell to boy guys. It's international health insurance. Basically, it's like a Discovery Medical Aid on steroids. Anywhere in the world you want health cover, private, you get it. This is what these guys do. So obviously you can understand these guys sell globally. Anyone anywhere, as long as you're expert in your global mobility and you move. Anyway, I met one of the big insurers, a big American insurer. I met their consultant who calls on me, and we talk as I sell his product. This guy's career has been living the life of Riley. Like, this guy travels the insurer sends him around the world to meet with brokers. So he has to be, get to know them, get on a connection, show them the products, empower him to sell it. But he does this worldwide. He's like, I've been all over the world. I go to Mexico to brokers all day, train them up, get to know them, and then you spend the rest of the day checking the country, going tours, having drinks, Then I was like, how did you get that job? I was like, that's my dream job. Why didn't I ever get to do that? He goes, I know. He said, me too. I never studied. The first job I ever got was like an admin clerk in this big international insurance. And then as you do, you work your way up. And he goes, he's like the coolest career ever. And I said, see, I didn't know that about insurance. Like, you hear insurance, but how cool is that job? You like traveling, you're good with people. Why don't you go do that? I would have jumped at that at 18. So
yeah, I think... Yeah, there's all sorts of things.
I couldn't believe it, yeah.
Yeah, you've just got to think differently.
And that's why I believe in networking too, being around people, because you're only going to find that out if you sit with people and then you hear them say something like that, like, wow, that's awesome. I don't know you could do that. It's like, yeah, why'd you go check this job like this? So, yeah.
Yeah, all sorts of different things.
Big time.
What is one piece of advice that you'd give somebody who was starting in the insurance game?
One piece of advice. Like, put a big focus on your reputation, because the insurance industry is small. So like focus on your reputation in every sense of word. Be like, we literally have to follow fit and proper, and there's a reason that, like, you got to be honest, you got to have integrity, you got to have all those. Should have that in general, but in the insurance industry, people I'm not even talking about customer facing. Like, people know that the people want to work with people that know and trust and believe going to be a good broker or insurer. So whatever, for me, it is like, come in and have that in your mind. Like, you must come in and be like, I'm going to be a consummate professional, and I'm going to have all these characteristics, and I'm going to really act like it. And I think you'll go far, because I believe anyone can learn it. You can, everyone can be taught it. You get the right people. You can become, in any aspect of insurance, you can find your field. So just obviously work hard and study, do that. But take care of your reputation, work hard to make sure that you a man of your word, a woman of your word, as people, so many people respect and trust. Because as I say, in the insurance industry, that goes very far. Even for me, like, even though insurers want me to give them business and stuff, it goes a long way when they know that you know what you're talking about, and they can trust you too, and you're not some hotshot insurance broker who's just trying to land a deal. So I've learned that, and people know each other big time. So yeah, make sure you go in there with that attitude to be somebody serious and somebody that's stand up and good character.
I think that's a great piece of advice for any career, because the world is smaller than we think. We often
Big time.
bump into people or find out that we know somebody who knows somebody. So yeah, the world is smaller than you think.
Because it is, though. Just in my mind, you could go with the traditional cliche, work hard, but that's everywhere. But I get, the advice I give as well, but just be serious when I say, if you want to sell insurance, you want to be an insurance professional, have those characteristics, be honest, be accountable, have integrity, or don't bother, because people will pick that up. And never mind the insurance industry, customers will smell to do it eventually.
I think it takes a really long time to build a reputation and a very short time to break it.
Yeah,
so you need to be
exactly.
you need to make sure you look after it, or else it could
100%.
backfire.
Exactly. That's so profound, because it's taken me 16 years to get to it, and I wouldn't have been able to open my brokerage and be successful as if I did this 10 years ago, because I didn't have the reputation yet. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the network. So what I've accumulated to this point is all because I built the foundation on the reputation people can trust, both ways. People that have always known me, and providers that have always known me, like, yes, I always talk about, like, we back him if he says this and that. So yeah, and you say one slip up because I want to do a quick little dodgy deal or whatever, or screw over a client,
it's going to probably bite you.
and in our game, that's it, you're done. Because soon as that'll, word of mouth, no, that's like, don't do that, don't take a life policy of that guy, you know what I mean? So yeah, what you said there, that quote is like, it should be on every broker or insurance entrance to the door. Be like, don't do that, dude. Like, your reputation can be ruined in a second.
Yeah. I think something else that also I'm realizing as I'm getting older and as I'm getting wiser, and I swore I'd never say that. Start feeling old when you say things like that. Is that don't burn bridges.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because if you break that network, if you burn somebody, you really are going to regret it later, because it's that, like you say, it's part of that reputation.
Oh, that's massive, and people don't know what it's so broad. But I'm like, even if you've ever worked at a company you hated and the boss is terrible, just suck it up and leave on good terms, because it can bite your ass. That's good advice. Very good advice.
Okay, what networking methods have worked really well for you?
Honestly, might sound cheesy, but just get out there and don't say no to anything. Be a yes man. Like my one mate jokes, because you don't say no to a lunch, and I don't. Like, or coffee. I mean, and even if it's not part of my industry, if someone wants to go that's in the marketing, or somebody wants to go that's in a completely different realm, and they're just like, we've connected on LinkedIn, I want to talk about this, or somebody told me, I just get out there, really, and I mean get out there. I don't say, if there's a conference, I go to the conference. If there's one of the insurance providers says we got this launch and this thing, why don't you come in person? I'll be there. Even if I'm talking to other brokers, competition, I just don't say no to anything. And when I do go, I go positivity. Like I go, back to what you're saying, go there to kind of almost give also. Like go there to, like, don't expect. That's what I say. I make friends out of the brokers. We technically competition, but I can learn off them. And they, some of the older guys and women have been in the game for 20, 30 years. I learn a lot of. So for me, that worked.
Yeah, I was going to say, you need to be a bit like a sponge as well.
Huge. Don't go in there thinking you know everything and you're going to tell. Go in there, hear what's going on, hear what people say. And my personal, I don't say no to, like if a friend invites me to other friends who go play golf. I'm terrible at golf. I'm probably embarrass myself. But I'm like, no, but to be around those guys and those people, there could be, I always think there's something like I want to learn, but like there's an opportunity. I want to learn something, or you never know the deal around the corner. So for me, honestly, it's that getting, and I mean seriously getting out there, like being an extrovert almost. And I know for some people it's a nightmare. I love it. This comes natural to me, but even my missus, so she's the opposite. She loves to chill. She loves her time with her close friends. So for me, she's like you on a different spectrum. So I can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
But for me, it's helped. Really, it's taken me out. Like I obviously haven't even invested any money in any marketing, except where I met Yolandi is in a BNI, which is like it's a good networking community for entrepreneurs. That was the only thing I did. But again, it's being out there. You've got to be at meetings all the time. You've got to go do one-to-ones with other people. You've got to force yourself to always get out there. So that's taken me a long way.
Yeah, I strongly believe in networking events. Again, it's something that I've learned recently, and there's always some way that you can help somebody, and it's that principle of paying it forward. So it will come back to you.
And that's what I say, if you do it authentically, because then it's right. Then not to get all spiritual, but then the universe, it all works. But people can pick it up. When people are only doing stuff to get something, anyone can be like, oh, that guy's just trying to get what he can get out of it, what you can get out of it. But if you're going like, I want to help, I want to be right, then people want to be around you anyway. They're drawn to you, and that's what you want. You want people to be drawn to, because then opportunities get drawn to you.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's helped me a lot. What else? And you for networking?
It's I don't know. I like, there's certain things like LinkedIn is a fabulous tool that I've only recently kind of bought into, if I can put it that way. I've met some amazing people on LinkedIn. Okay. Then interestingly, the media has actually proved to be quite an interesting networking tool as well.
The what, sorry?
The media.
Oh, like to radio.
Yeah. I did an interview on Morning Live about a month ago on the 4-day work week. So what were my opinions on the 4-day work week? And it's actually insane how my phone just went crazy after that interview. I don't even know where people got my number. It's really
it's just getting
really just
making a noise, letting people know you're around. That's what it is.
And you know what? If you're not winning in networking, start your own. That is really something. So I've recently started the Joburg chapter of the Women's Business Club.
Okay.
So we meet once a month. It's called Coffee and Co-working. So it's networking, chatting, just relaxing, and if you want to work, you can work. I get a little bit of work done around other like-minded women.
Love that.
So we've recently started that, and it's grown enormously. So
really,
we're about to go into our second one in a week's time, and the first one, I think there were 11 people there. At the moment, I think this morning I had 32 RSVPs.
Really good for you. But that's also very good advice for anyone. It's just some people are naturally like me. They want to get out, then create it, as you say. I would love something like that. I kind of do it on a small level. I just tell my certain friends that are on the same journey as me, like we should meet for breakfast once in a while. Just keep it up, be like, where you at in your business?
Exactly. So what we're going to do is we'll grow, and as we grow, and I get to know people a little bit better, I'll get to understand what their challenges are.
Yeah.
And then we'll start doing lunches where I bring a speaker in that discusses some of those issues where people are struggling, or where they've got challenges. And then eventually we'll also I want to do a tribe night. So that's just about women meeting and having a cocktail and a dinner or whatever together, because I think we don't do it enough, and we don't talk about the issues and what we're struggling with.
And how powerful is that? Because you don't know what the other battles. And again, you asked me about the mental thing. That's where I survive, is when you're with other people that's going through similar issues. Like, God, that helps. Exactly. Yeah, that's great. But you're doing this. Awesome. I hope that grows.
Yeah, realizing that you're not in it alone.
Huge. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
The worst times you have is when you've been in office for like 6 days straight, whatever, and you're working on stuff. And I've never had a partner to bounce off stuff, so it feels extremely alone. Like you'll take strain, but as soon as you can go sit with another awesome, like-minded entrepreneur like yourself, then I'm like, oh, it's refreshing. I feel the nuggets you dropped today has even changed my whole perspective of things. So you have to be around people and the right people. So what you're doing with that is epic. I hope it grows, really.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm very excited.
I'll be able to talk if anyone needs insurance.
I will definitely keep
especially this cocktail.
I love that. Okay, if you had the attention of the world for 5 minutes, what do you want to say? What would you say?
Yes, okay. That's hectic, eh? That's I wouldn't even talk for 5 minutes, but I would just simply say, not to sound like a beauty pageant answer, but be like, just follow the golden rule and just do unto others as you want to do unto you. Like, don't be a douchebag. Just like don't make laugh. Laugh's hard enough for all of us. Just like
be kind.
Be nice to each other. Yeah, and help. Help people, and you'd want it to be help, or don't make your bad day someone else's bad day. Really, just get on with yourself and don't impact other people's lives negatively. Really, it's as simple as that. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff about a few drinks I could talk about, other issues, but I think the crux and basis, I think if everyone had that attitude, it'd be easier for all of us.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Okay, and then our final question.
Yeah.
Where can people go to learn more about you?
I would say LinkedIn for now, because I'm also starting to try and get out there more, try and post more, try and do stuff like this more. And I think all of it's going to drive to LinkedIn. So for a good starting point, LinkedIn, and reach out to me. I'm happy to chat. As I've said, I look for excuses to go for a coffee or drink. So DM me.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Stuart. I really appreciate you coming through to meet with us today and sharing stories and sharing wisdom and insights. It's how we help other people. So.
Thank you for having me. Honestly, I've picked up a lot just off you today. So I hope we have any listeners that they picked up something as well. So
awesome.
Thank you
so much.
Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to our conversation with Stuart Wilson. Stuart has an impressive wealth of knowledge and expertise in the insurance industry. From his impressive qualifications to his own successful insurance consulting firm, Stuart has a unique perspective that he brings to the table when it comes to understanding the complexities of insurance. His passion for the industry is infectious, and his insights on the challenges and opportunities facing insurance and policyholders alike are invaluable. We hope that you found this episode informative and engaging, and that you'll join us again for future episodes as we continue to understand and unpack what it means to lead with impact. Thank you for listening. You can find the Lead with Impact podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you enjoy the show, please leave us a review. It helps us reach more listeners like you. Also, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the great content and advice we have coming up. Thank you for tuning into the Lead with Impact podcast. Join us each week to hear inspiring stories from entrepreneurs, business owners, and leaders who are making an impact in the business world. From valuable tips to actionable insights, our guests have the experience and knowledge to help you take your business up a level. We'll discuss everything from marketing strategies to financial management and more so that you can stay ahead of the game and lead confidently. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, lead with impact.